Today we're going to pick up on our one-step equations lesson, and we're going to focus on now multiplying and dividing equations. Yesterday we talked about addition and subtraction. We said that the inverse of addition would be subtraction. The inverse of subtraction would be addition. Today we're going to focus on the inverse of multiplication, which is division, and the inverse of division, which is multiplication. When we look at these equations, you'll notice there's a number directly next to a variable. When a number's directly next to a variable, they're held together by multiplication. So if our goal is still to get that x by itself, we want to undo that multiplication. To undo multiplying by 8, we're going to divide by 8. Remember, the fraction bar means division. So that's why I'm using the fraction bar, because it's easiest to see then that the left side can reduce down because 8 over 8 is 1. So we're left with 1x equaling, and negative 24 divided by 8 would give me negative 3. I can go through and check my work just like before. I'd come back to my original 8x, and instead of x, I'm going to plug in a negative 3. 8 times negative 3 does give me negative 24, so it does check out. With problem number 2, you'll notice that I've got a number right next to my variable. In order to undo that multiplication, I'm going to divide, dividing by a negative 3. Remember, we want it to be the same so that we can put a 1 through it. If they're opposites, we're not able to put a 1 through it. So negative 3 over negative 3 is 1y equaling, and negative 12 divided by negative 3, a negative and a negative is a positive, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. I'm going to check over my work. Negative 3 times 4 does give me negative 12. On number 3, the 6 is connected to the t by multiplication. To undo multiplication, we're going to divide by 6 on both sides. The 6 over 6 gives us 1. We're left with t equals negative divided by a positive is a negative, and 6 goes into 66 11 times. When I check my work, 6 times negative 11 does give me negative 66. On number 4, you'll notice we've got an 11 attached to our m by multiplication. To undo multiplication, we're going to divide. So we're going to divide both by 11. 121 divided by 11 gives me 11. I've got my 11 over 11, which is 1. 1m equals 11. To check my work, does 11 times 11 equal 121? Yes, it does. You should remember this one from our perfect squares at the very beginning of the year. So then we get to the second type of problem, which is where our x is connected to another number by division. So this is read as x divided by 5 equals negative 30. And in order to undo division, we want to use the opposite operation. The opposite of dividing by 5 would be to multiply both sides by 5. So I'm going to just rewrite this down here. X divided by 5 equals negative 30. I want to multiply both the left side by 5 and the right side by 5. And the reason I do that is because on the left side, when I multiply by 5, it's like multiplying by 5 over 1, which gives me 5x over 5, and the 5 over 5 reduces down to just an x. Then we have 5 times negative 30, it gives me negative 150. So x equals negative 150. On number 6, you'll notice that the m is connected to our 3 by division. We want to undo that division by multiplying by 3 on both sides. The 3 is like multiplying by 3 over 1, which gives me 3m over 3, which the 3 over 3's cancel down to 1m, and 3 times 10 gives me 30. So I get 30 for my final answer. With number 7, since x is being divided by 9, we want to multiply by 9 on both sides. Again, this is going to reduce because it's going to end up 9x over 9. The 9's would reduce. Now we have to do 25 times 9. that would be negative 225. For the last problem, you'll notice that our m is connected to a 2 by division. In order to undo division, we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. The right side would end up being 2m over 2, which reduces down to 1m. And 2 times 14 gives us 28. So m equals 28. You could go back through and check over all of your answers by plugging in what you had. Negative 150 divided by 5 is negative 30. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Negative 225 divided by 9 is negative 25. And 28 divided by 2 is 14. We follow through with the same steps when we have multiplying or dividing by a decimal. And remember, you are allowed to use your calculators. So you want to first ask yourself on problem 1 how the 1.3 is connected to our x. And because they're right next to each other, they're connected to each other by multiplication. And to undo multiplication, we use division. So we're going to divide by 1.3 on both sides. 1.3 over 1.3 is 1, and x equals 8 divided by 1.3 gives us approximately 6.15. It does continue on, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this equal sign into a squiggly equal sign, which means approximately, and that lets everybody know that it's not exactly 6.15. When we move on to question 10, we've got a negative 4.6 that's connected to our y by multiplication. To undo multiplication, we're going to divide. Negative 4.6 over negative 4.6 is 1, 1y equals, and 9.2 divided by negative 4.6 gives us a negative 2. On problems 11 and 12, you'll notice that our decimal is connected by division. And in order to undo division, we're going to multiply on both sides by 3.1. On the left side, they cancel out because we would be left with 3.1y over 3.1, which is 1y. And now we have to do 8 times 3.1, which ends up being 24.8. So y equals 24.8. On number 12, k is connected to our 2.1 by division, so we're going to undo that by multiplying both sides by 2.1. In this case, we'd get 2.1k over 2.1, which the 2.1s cancel off because they're 1, and we get k equals, we're doing 27 times 2.1, and that gives us negative 56.7. When we get to the last page, you'll notice that now we have word problems again. It says 6 times a number, 6 times, and we don't know what the number is, so we're going to call it n, is in math means equals negative 96. This one we can find the number because when something's connected to our variable by multiplication, we undo it by using division. 6 over 6 leaves me with 1n equaling negative 96 divided by 6 gives us negative 16. On B, we have 1/4 of a number is in math means equals. We have negative 9. When I multiply 1/4 times n, I get 1n over 4, which can also be written as n over 4, equaling negative 9. And when something's connected to our variable by division, we undo that by multiplying. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4, and we end up getting n equals negative 36. If you have any questions, please email me at sullivana@milton.k12 www.wi.us.